Rome is a British-American-Italian historical drama television series created by John Milius, William J. MacDonald and Bruno Heller. The show's 2 seasons were broadcast on HBO, BBC Two, and radio between 2005 and 2007. They were later released on DVD and Blu-ray. Rome is set in the 1st century BC, during ancient Rome's transition from republic to empire. The series features a sprawling ensemble cast of characters, many of whom are based on real figures from historical records. But the lead protagonists are ultimately 2 soldiers, Lucius Vorenus and Titus Pullo, who find their lives intertwined with key historical events. Rome was a ratings success for HBO and the BBC. The series received much media attention from the start, and was honored with numerous awards and nominations in its 2-series run. Co-creator Heller stated in December 2008 that a Rome movie was in development, but as of early 2015 no further production had been initiated. The series was filmed in various locations, but most notably in the Cinecittà Studios in Italy. Plot overview. The series primarily chronicles the lives and deeds of the rich, powerful and historically significant, but also focuses on the lives, fortunes, families and acquaintances of 2 common men, Lucius Vorenus and Titus Pullo, 2 fictionalized versions of a pair of Roman soldiers mentioned in Caesar's commentary Ida Bello Gallico. The fictional Vorenus and Pullo managed to witness and often influence many of the historical events presented in the series. Although some license is taken, the 1st season depicts Julius Caesar's civil war of 49 BC against the traditionalist conservative faction in the Roman Senate, his rise to dictatorship over Rome and his fall, spanning the time from the end of his Gallic Wars until his assassination on 15 March 44 BC. Against the backdrop of these cataclysmic events, we also see the early years of the young Octavian, who is destined to become the first emperor of Rome, Augustus. The 2nd season chronicles the power struggle between Octavian and Mark Antony following Caesar's assassination, spanning the period from Caesar's death in 44 BC to Octavian's victory over Antony at Actium in 31 BC. Cast: Kevin McKidd as Lucius Vorenus, a staunch, traditional Roman officer who struggles to balance his personal beliefs, his duty to his superiors, and the needs of his family and friends. The basis for this character is the historical Roman soldier of the same name, who was briefly mentioned in Julius Caesar's De Bello Gallico 5.44. Ray Stevenson as Titus Pullo, a friendly, upbeat, devil-may-care soldier with the morals of a pirate, the appetites of a hedonist, and a total lack of personal responsibility, who discovers hidden ideals and integrity within himself. The basis for this character also comes from Caesar's De Bello Gallico 5.44 and commentary Ida Bello Civilli 3.67. Kieran Hines as Julius Caesar. Caesar is ambitious, but his aims and motives are often kept ambiguous to further complicate the plot and test the personal loyalties of other characters. He advertises himself as a reformer who sides with the plebeians, though he is himself a patrician. He is also merciful to his beaten enemies, genuinely distressed by their deaths and relieved at their willingness to make peace where a more vindictive individual would have simply killed them. Kenneth Cranham as Pompey Magnus, a legendary general, past the days of his prime, who tries to recapture the glories of his youth as well as to do what is right for the Republic. The real Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus was a Roman general and politician who was as ambitious as Caesar and just as unorthodox in his youth. He chose to ally himself with the Optimates in opposing Caesar and supporting the traditional Roman Republic. Polly Walker as Atia of the Julii, the niece of Julius Caesar and mother of Octavian, Augustus and Octavia. She is depicted as a cheerfully amoral and opportunistic manipulator. Her family connections and sexual liaisons have brought her into contact with some of the most powerful individuals in Rome, making her a highly influential figure in Roman society. Atia is very loosely based on the historical figure Atia Balba Caesonia, about whom little detail is known. Rome historical consultant Jonathan Stamp identifies the historical figure Clodia as the primary basis for the character of Atia. James Purefoy as Mark Antony, a very popular and cunning Roman general and politician and a close supporter of Julius Caesar in Season 1. In Season 2, he fights the power-hungry and unaccomplished Octavian. Tobias Menzies as Marcus Junius Brutus, portrayed as a young man torn between what he believes is right, and his loyalty and love of a man who has been like a father to him. The real Marcus Junius Brutus was the most famous of Julius Caesar's assassins, and one of the key figures in the civil wars that followed the assassination. Lindsay Duncan as Servilia of the Junii, the mother of Marcus Junius Brutus, lover of the married Julius Caesar, and enemy of Atia of the Julii. Servilia is depicted as a sophisticated and regal Roman matron who follows her heart to her detriment, betrayed by love, and hungering for revenge. She slowly becomes as cruel as those whom she would destroy. Servilia is loosely based on the historical personage of Servilia Caepionis, mother of Marcus Junius Brutus, and famous lover of Julius Caesar. Indira Varma as Niobe, a beautiful woman devoted to her family. Niobe is a proud plebeian from a large clan. After marrying Lucius Vorenus and giving birth to their 2 daughters, she functioned as a single parent when Lucius went off to war. Max Pearkish and Simon Woods as Gaius Octavian, portrayed as a shrewd, if somewhat cold, young man, with an understanding of the world, people, philosophy and politics that go well beyond his years. Despite this, he is very power-hungry and uses the accomplishments of others he is related to as a means to further his political career. The basis for this character is the early life of Augustus, the first Roman emperor. Nicholas Wooderson as Posca, a Greek slave of Julius Caesar, yet also his friend, aide-de-camp, and confidant in most things personal and professional. As a slave, he will seldom receive credit, but it appears that many of the more simple and elegant solutions to Caesar's problems come from the mind of Posca. Posca is freed and given a stipend in Caesar's will at the start of the 2nd season. He throws his support behind Antony in later episodes, but later strategically defects to Octavian. In the 2nd episode of the 2nd season, Mark Antony refers to him as a Greek, which is in keeping with his highly educated and influential position for a slave. Kerry Condon as Octavia of the Julii. The character is based on the Roman matron Octavia Thurina Minor, sister of Roman Emperor Augustus. Born to one of the most powerful families in Rome, the Julii, Octavia is the only daughter and elder child of Atia of the Julii, who is the niece of Gaius Julius Caesar. In Season 2, she marries Mark Antony, something she did in real life when Antony was newly a widower in 40 BC as part of the Pact of Brundisium. Having been ordered by the Senate to set aside the mandatory 10-month term of widowhood after the death of her first husband, Claudius Marcellus. Rick Warden as Quintus Pompey, the son of Pompey. There is no basis for this character, but the character may be meant to represent the younger of Pompey's historical sons Sextus Pompeius. Carl Johnson as Porcius Cato, an extreme traditionalist, against political and social decay, and a staunch defender of the Roman Republic. The real Cato the Younger was a Roman orator, author and politician who committed suicide to avoid living under Caesar's tyranny. David Bamber as Marcus Tullius Cicero, a moderate politician and scholar, who is challenged with trying to save the traditional republic from the ambitions of the various characters on the show. The real Cicero was a Roman politician, writer and orator. Lee Boardman as Timon, a Roman Jew, depicted as a hired sword, from bodyguard to assassin, for Atia of the Julii, from whom he is quite willing to take her body in lieu of coin. Production. Development. William J. McDonald and John Milius pitched the idea to HBO as a mini-series, but the network made it a full-fledged series. In 2002, HBO and the BBC agreed to co-produce the series, committing a $100-110 million budget to the production of 12 one-hour episodes, with HBO contributing $85 million, and the BBC contributing $15 million. The BBC contributed £800,000 to every episode of Rome in its first season. Rome is the largest co-produced series with the American film market in the BBC's history. The series also marked the first series on which HBO and the BBC worked together as co-producers. Although the two companies had worked together in other roles in earlier series, including Band of Brothers and The Gathering Storm, Tranter from the BBC has said this about the development of Rome: "It felt like something that could have been developed by us, and HBO felt like natural partners for the BBC." On 20 April 2006, Carolyn Strauss, president of HBO, announced the development of a second season for Rome. Filming between March 2004 and May 2005, Rome was filmed in co-production with Rai Fiction in the Italian countryside on Cinecittà Studios' 6 sound stages in Rome. A collection of massive sets in Cinecittà Studios' backlots comprised an elaborate, period reconstruction of sections of ancient Rome. It was a huge undertaking, with an international crew of 350, and more than 50 local Italian interns. The production is regarded as one of the most expensive in the history of television. Funding was generously employed to recreate an impressively detailed set featuring a number of Roman villas, the Forum, and a vast slum area of the ancient city of Rome. A significant part of this set was later destroyed by a fire that burned down a portion of the Cinecittà Studios in 2007. According to HBO, the fire started after they had finished filming the second season. A portion of the set was also used in late 2007 by the crew of the long-running BBC sci-fi drama series Doctor Who. For the fourth season episode, The Fires of Pompeii, audio commentary on the Season 1 DVD indicates that many of the background performers used in the series were also their true professional counterparts. One example is that the actor shown in the series working as a butcher on the streets of Rome was in fact a real-life butcher. Editing. In a separate move, the BBC also decided to re-edit the first 3 episodes into 2 episodes. The BBC claimed that this was because the British audience were more familiar with the history of Rome than their American counterparts, and so much of the history was unnecessary. However, Apted claims that the purpose was to boost the ratings by increasing the prominence of the scenes of sex and violence. In an interview with The Times, Apted said, "I'm really pissed off with the BBC for bringing down my first 3 episodes to 2 and, in doing so, taking out much of the vital politics. What also makes me very grumpy is that I was told that the cuts had been introduced by the BBC because they thought British viewers already knew the historical background. But all that's happened as far as the viewer is concerned is that it has made Rome hard to follow." Apted also said that he only learned of the edits by accident a couple of weeks ago when one of the actors told me. Since then, the original uncut Season 1 episodes aired on UK TV drama, coincident with the UK broadcast of Season 2 on BBC Two. The Italian broadcast of the series was also marred by controversy. Strong language was removed in the Italian dubbing process. As for the more explicit sex scenes and disturbing violence, they were replaced by safe, alternative versions shot during production especially for the Italian market. Ray 4 began showing the complete version of the series on Italian TV in September 2009. Music composer Jeff Beal was invited to audition for Rome after he completed work on HBO's Carnival. The producers sent him a short edit of episode 7. From that, Beal began writing a demo score, based on head writer Bruno Heller's desired gritty pre-Christian feel for the series, and HBO's interest in a non-modern sound. Beal chose to compose and record with live instruments from across the ancient Roman world. For each episode, Beal had about 2 weeks to work. In the first, he composed for, and recorded, the instruments he performed on the soundtrack. In the second week, he incorporated producers' notes, orchestrated and recorded the other live instrumental sections. Broadcast and DVD releases. Rome's first season originally aired on HBO in the United States between the 28th of August and the 20th of November 2005, subsequently being broadcast on the United Kingdom's BBC Two between the 2nd of November 2005 and the 4th of January 2006, and on Rai 2 in Italy between the 17th of March 2006 and the 28th of April 2006. The second season aired on HBO in the US from the 14th of January 2007 to the 25th of March 2007. International syndication. The series was launched in the United States on the 25th of August 2005 at Wadsworth Theatre in Los Angeles. HBO broadcast the series pilot, The Stolen Eagle, 4 days later. According to the Nielsen rating system, the pilot broadcast was seen by 3.8 million viewers and achieved a 9.1 household rating for Sunday primetime. HBO re-aired the pilot 11 times in the week following the 28th of August 2005 premiere, garnering a total viewership of 8.9 million for all 11 airings. After the broadcast of only 3 first-season episodes, HBO announced plans to produce a second season of Rome in 2006, for release in March 2007. HBO aired each episode multiple times a week, and by the end of the first season, the total weekly audience for all airings exceeded 7 million viewers. The second season premiered in January 2007, with the first episode attracting 1.5 million viewers. The final episode aired the 25th of March 2007 in the US. In total, HBO spent about $10 million to promote Rome. HBO enlisted the Mozilla Firefox web browser in its marketing campaign for the series by designing a downloadable custom Rome Firefox theme. BBC Two premiered Rome in the United Kingdom on the 2nd of November 2005, attracting 6.6 million viewers. Viewing figures declined in future episodes, with the season finale only attracting 3 million viewers. The first episode of the second season aired on BBC Two on the 20th of June 2007. A sanitized version of the first series of Rome, with toned-down nudity and violence, aired on Rai 2 in Italy, garnering only a meager 10% audience share. Rai also stated to have co-produced the show, whereas HBO listed only itself and BBC as co-producers. The Italian newspaper, Corriere della Sera, called it a prime example of historical misinformation, and called actor Kieran Hines a parody. The paper also called the relationship between ATIA of the Julia and Mark Antony ridiculous. The second series was never broadcast at all on analog TV, however, starting from October 2009. Digital-only channel Rai 4 broadcast the original uncut version of the first series and went on to broadcast the second series unaltered as well. Cancellation. And future HBO chairman Chris Albrecht announced in a July 2006 news conference that Season 2 of Rome would be its last, citing the fact that the series had been developed under a 2-year contract with the BBC that would have been difficult for the BBC to extend due to the series' cost of the storyline. Co-creator Heller said, Heller confirmed in December that there was talk of doing a movie version, adding that, "It's moving along. It's not there until it is there. I would love to round that show off." In an April 2009 interview with the Associated Press, actor Kevin McKidd stated that Rome film was in development, and Lucius Vorenus will likely be a part of it. In March 2010, Entertainment Weekly stated that Heller had completed the script for Morning Light Productions, the film's financiers, and was now awaiting a director and a studio, since HBO Films won't be involved. However, in a more recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, Heller indicated the project had stalled. "I'm not holding my breath." On April 15, 2014, Screen Rant received reports from Entertainment Weekly in which it was confirmed that a movie based on HBO Rome is indeed on the way. Quote, "As reported in 2009, Bruno Heller, who wrote and executive produced the series, is writing the movie script as well. The film will be produced by Morning Light Productions. The only question that remains is which epoch of Rome will the movie focus on and which cast members will be featured on the big screen." Kevin McKidd himself spoke in September 2013 about it. "There is a script that is being shopped and it's supposedly very good. I haven't seen it, but I am definitely going to be a part of the movie. He is very much alive, so that should be a fun story to tell." Home release Rome. The complete first season was released as a 6-disc Region 1 DVD box set in the United States in 2006, distributed by HBO Home Video, featuring all 12 episodes. It included features such as episode commentaries, behind-the-scenes footage and making-of features. The set was also released in Region 2, with the same title. Season 2 was released in North America in 2007 and soon after in Region 2. Rome. The complete series was released in November 2009 on Blu-ray in North America. Episodes